The strategic city of Pokrovsk, historically known as Krasnoarmeysk, has emerged as the focal point of Ukraine's most severe military crisis since the fall of Avdiivka. Earlier this year, Russian military officials claimed to have completed the encirclement of Ukrainian forces within the city, sealing all remaining escape routes and trapping what Moscow estimated to be thousands of troops in what has become a rapidly deteriorating defensive position. According to reports from TASS citing Igor Timakovsky, an aide to the Donetsk administrations, Russian forces now maintain complete control over all roads leading out of the besieged urban center, with only minimal Ukrainian units reportedly escaping toward Mirnograd before the final encirclement was established. This development represents a significant tactical victory for Russian forces in the Donetsk region and follows a pattern of systematic advances that have characterized Moscow's recent military operations. The situation in Pokrovsk has triggered intense concern within Ukrainian military circles, as the city serves as a crucial gateway to the broader Donbas region, and its loss would potentially open multiple avenues for further Russian advances westward. President Volodymyr Zelensky has publicly maintained that the city remains under Ukrainian control, though military analysts note that Kyiv's ability to reinforce or resupply encircled units has been severely compromised by Russia's control of surrounding territory. The potential collapse of Ukrainian defenses in Pokrovsk has raised an alarming comparison to the Avdiivka withdrawal, where Ukrainian forces suffered significant equipment losses and casualties during their retreat. As Russian artillery and drone strikes intensify within the city perimeter, Ukrainian commanders face increasingly difficult decisions regarding whether to attempt a breakout operation or negotiate terms for the withdrawal of trapped units. The humanitarian situation inside Pokrovsk has also deteriorated rapidly, with civilian infrastructure suffering extensive damage and remaining residents facing severe shortage of food, water, and medical supplies. International humanitarian organizations have expressed grave concerns about the welfare of both military personnel and civilian caught in the encirclement, though access to the area remain extremely limited due to ongoing combat operations. A series of concerning development has exposed deepening fractures within the Ukraine's military structure, raising serious questions about morale, command effectiveness, and operational integrity. Captured Ukrainian soldiers Alexander Bakel provided a disturbing account of battlefield conditions during an interview with Russian media, describing how his own unit became victims of friendly fire attacks from Ukrainian forces. Bakel claimed that Ukrainian drones, including the sophisticated Baba Yaga unmanned aerial vehicle, deliberately targeted his positions amid chaotic combat conditions and complete radio silence from Ukrainian command. According to his testimony, Russian troops ultimately rescued his groups from the devastating friendly fire incident, highlighting what appears to be a catastrophic breakdown in Ukrainian military coordination and communication systems. This account emerged alongside alarming reports of unprecedented desertion rates within the Ukrainian armed force, with official sources acknowledging that over 21,000 soldiers reportedly abandoned their posts during October alone. Military analysts suggest these figures indicate a potential breaking point in Ukraine's defensive capabilities, particularly as Russian forces continue to apply sustained pressure across multiple fronts. Adding to the complexity of the situation, President Zelensky's recent reference to a heroic first operation during his address commemorating Air Assault Troops Day has sparked considerable controversy both domestically and internationally. The remark appeared to confirm Ukrainian military operations on Russian soil marking a significant departure from Kyiv's traditionally defensive public narrative and potentially escalating tensions with Moscow. This acknowledgement came as Russian forces reported mass surrenders of Ukrainian troops near Krasnoarmeysk and Dmitrovsk, with Donetsk leader Denis Pushilin confirming that encircled units, exhausted and unable to withstand relentless Russian assault, had begun waving white flags in surrender. Pushilin characterized the operation as a massively executed encirclement that had systematically dismantled Ukrainian defensive position, noting that Kyiv's repeated counterattacks had collapsed under the weight of Russian firepower and tactical superiority. These battlefield developments have created a cascading effect of operational challenges for Ukrainian military leaderships, who must now contend with both deteriorating frontline conditions and growing internal discipline problems within their ranks. Ukraine's strategic defense capabilities have suffered a devastating blow following successful Russian strikes against the nation's domestic missile production infrastructure. Ukrainian defense officials have confirmed that Russian forces have effectively destroyed all domestic manufacturing facilities capable of producing cruise and ballistic missiles, dealing a severe setback to Kyiv's long-term military sustainability. The attacks, conducted using precision KAB-guided bombs and advanced Molniya drones, targeted multiple defense industry sites across the country, completely eliminating Ukraine's ability to independently manufacture sophisticated missile systems. This destruction of critical defense infrastructure has been compounded by systematic strikes against Ukraine's power grid, which have left a large portion of the country experiencing daily electricity outage lasting up to 16 hours. Civilian casualties from these infrastructure attacks continue to mount, with authorities reporting at least 7 fatalities and dozens of injuries in the most recent wave of strikes. Military analysts have described this campaign as one of Russia's most strategically significant offensive since the war began, fundamentally altering the balance of military capabilities between the two nations. The loss of missile production capacity forces Ukraine into complete dependence on Western military aid for its long-range strike capabilities, creating significant vulnerabilities in its defense posture. This development has occurred simultaneously with President Zelensky's public praise for elite Ukrainian paratrooper and airborne brigade, where he specifically named frontline units during his address. While intended to boost morale, these remarks have raised diplomatic concerns among Ukraine's international partners, who fear such specific acknowledgement could escalate tensions and complicate ongoing military assistance programs. The situation has been further complicated by high-profile international visits, including Hollywood actress Angelina Jolie's unannounced trip to Ukrainian frontlines with the Legacy of War Foundation. Jolie's visit to Kherson and Mykolaiv regions, intended to highlight civilian suffering, encountered unexpected challenges, including emergency shelter situations when drones appeared overhead and a viral incident involving military recruiters stopping her vehicle. By these complications, Jolie used her platform to appeal to global leaders for enhanced civilian protection in conflict zones, emphasizing the resilience of Ukrainian communities despite ongoing destruction. Her visit, while generating significant media attention, also underscored the increasingly dangerous condition facing both civilian and international observers in Ukraine's war-affected region. Former NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has revealed critical details about his tenure during the early stage of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, providing unprecedented insight into the alliance decision-making process during moments of extreme crisis. In a revealing interview with the Times, Stoltenberg disclosed that he had refused President Volodymyr Zelensky's desperate February 2022 plea to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine, explaining that such a measure would inevitably trigger direct military confrontation between NATO and Russia. Stoltenberg recounted how both he and then U.S. President Joe Biden had concluded that enforcing a no-fly zone would require NATO forces to destroy Russian and Belarusian air defense system, a scenario they assessed would escalate into a full-scale world war. The former NATO leader described receiving Zelensky's call from a Kyiv's bunker as one of the most painful moments of his professional career, acknowledging that the alliance military support had arrived too late following Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea. Stoltenberg also reflected on broader NATO strategic failure, drawing parallel between the Ukraine situation and the alliance withdrawal from Afghanistan, suggesting that partners of hesitation and delayed response had consistently emboldened adversaries like Russia. His candid assessment has reignited debates about NATO's role in European security and the difficult choice alliance leaders face when balancing member state protection against the risk of catastrophic escalation. Meanwhile, Finnish politician Armando Memma has issued stark warning to NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte regarding the alliance's continued arms supplies to Ukraine, arguing that such action could precipitate nuclear conflict. Memma publicly denounced Rutte as a reckless warmonger and called for an immediate halt to weapon delivery, while also demanding that NATO cease its eastward expansion. This criticism emerged as the European Union faced significant backlash over press freedom concerns following the dismissal of Italian journalist Gabriele Nunziati by his employer Nova. Nunziati had been terminated shortly after asking the European Commission whether Russia should bear financial responsibility for Ukraine's reconstruction, a question that received only a brief no-comment response from Brussels officials. Despite EU denials of involvement in the journalist's dismissal, the incident has exposed persistent tensions between institutional transparency and media independence within European governance structure. The controversy unfolded against a backdrop of widespread social unrest in Germany, where hundreds of protesters marched through Stuttgart as part of nationwide demonstrations under the slogan "Municipalities at their limit." Demonstrators demanded increased funding for local services, social infrastructure, and public sector employees, arguing that government priorities have become dangerously misaligned with citizens' needs. Union representatives specifically criticized the allocation of resources toward military rearmament, while essential public services face severe budget constraints, warning that this imbalance threatened to undermine democratic participations and social cohesion across German communities. These interconnected developments revealed the complex web of military, diplomatic, and social challenges confronting European nations as they navigate the prolonged consequence of the Ukraine conflict while addressing domestic pressures for economic stability and institutional accountability. If you have made it this far, congratulations, you have unlocked the truth. I want to ask you a quick question though. With Pokrovsk completely encircled, Ukrainian forces resorting to friendly fire attacks and missile production capabilities destroyed, do you think Ukraine can survive as an independent nation through 2026? Or will we witness its complete military collapse and partition within the next 18 months? The evidence points to a breaking point where desertion, infrastructure destruction, and battlefield losses create an unsustainable situation. And why? Join the debate. We want to hear your insightful opinion on where this is all heading in our community. Share your thoughts in the comments below, like the video, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.